A warning tonight for demonstrators across the country from the nation's top expert on COVID-19. Protests and social gathering by their very nature are at odds. A perfect recipe for spreading the virus.
But it's a delicate balance because the reasons for demonstrating are valid, and yet the demonstration itself puts one at an additional risk.
I mean, thank you sincerely for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
You just went on a trip, right? You just came back from somewhere?
I went to Crescent City to the Redwoods, and then went to Oregon, Brookings. I had a really great sunset, and had fun taking pictures in the trees with the fog and the flowers.
Yeah. Did you get any good colors or any good fog in that?
Yeah, a couple good ones.
That's some of my favorite stuff to shoot are like, cliffside, sunrise, sunset, fog, that kind of stuff. As a time lapser and as a still photographer, like that stuff, I always get super excited with stuff like that.
Yeah.
You guys did a bunch of stuff like in the woods, right? I was it was you and Chris, right?
Chris,
I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah. We had fun. We make funny stories, and we really we're just having a good time, laughing and giving each other a hard time. Just fun.
Yeah, man. That's the best. Have you guys been friends for a long time?
Few years. Yeah. Through Instagram, I met him, but he's one of the only ones that I go out and take pictures with, really.
Yeah.
Besides my escape friends, but
Yeah. It's, I find that you have to be kind of, you both have to kind of meet each other's particulars, I think, when you go out and shoot with other people.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah.
I've been talking about this a lot with some of the people that I've had on, and like, yeah, it is funny how different people just have different like styles of.
Well, and some people are really serious, take this whole photography thing really serious, and you can't break the wall. You can't break into that wall. So I don't really have too many. I don't associate with too many guys that are like that. Those real serious ones.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, is it, there's probably the guys that are serious that are just kind of like dicks about it. And then there's probably the guys that are serious
and dicks about it. Yeah. Those are the ones.
Yeah. I've met a few of them too. I like with me, what seems to happen, and I get the impression that this is probably just because like I'm not experienced enough or evolved enough yet as a photographer to like cross over this bridge or something. But I always feel like I love the idea of hanging out with people and shooting, but it's almost like I'm not a dick about it, but it's like, I almost feel like I get distracted too easily. It's like I have to make a choice between being social and like trying to get a shot that I want to get. Like I'm not comfortable enough to just be relaxing and like, and still do it. Like I don't know if it's that, not enough experience yet to have maybe the muscle memory's not there or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool that you guys hang out. I've been following him for a little while too. And I like Chris's work as well. But I was going to say, you guys did a lot of shooting in the woods. And that's something that I have a lot of trouble doing stuff like that. Like it's hard for me to find compositions when I feel like I'm surrounded by trees. I'm always like kind of lost. Like I never know what to do.
Yeah. Well, there's some places that are groomed really nice. So, it's like Damnation. The Damnation area is like a amusement park for photographers. They have trails and groomed, and they go in there all year round and prune the undergrowth, and you can find shots there. Yeah.
You said Damnation?
Damnation Creek. It's in Crescent, just outside of Crescent City, Redwood National Park.
Cool.
You never been there?
I haven't. No. I've been to San Fran a few times and in the area, but I haven't been able to like venture out too far from there.
7 hours north.
Yeah. So it's far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, for whatever reason, like I've traveled a lot, but with doing photography, I, for some reason, have not had like a serious trip anywhere in the Pacific Northwest yet. And it feels so silly because I feel like so much of the most beautiful places in the country are in the Pacific Northwest. There's just so many like iconic spots. So I really would like to get out there, and it must be awesome to live in that area.
Yeah, it's nice up there. I want to go back. I'm going to try to go back again this week if I can get off work. And because, the flowers weren't quite ready yet. It was a little too early. And, I saw some people were up there today and watching their stories, and, you could see there's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say you have a pretty...
Me and Chris were on one trail in a different forest, and none of the flowers, they were just starting to come out. If it would have been like a week later, there's some nice shots up there. But I don't think it gets as much fog up there at the Prairie Creek.
That was the other spot that you went to?
Rhododendron Trail, it's called. A lot of nice shots up there. It's like a valley, though. I don't think there's too much ambiance up getting in there. I don't know, though. I've never been there with the ambiance.
Yeah. Was it crowded in any of the places, or was it totally dead?
Totally dead, yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Well, at Damnation, there were some people there, but not that many.
Yeah. I think it's going to take a while. I mean, I don't know. I say that, but as I say it, I think, well, maybe you're wrong about that, Adam. Like, I was going to say it. I think it's going to take a while for people to get like comfortable enough again to go and do as far as the COVID-19 situation. Like, it's going to take them, I think, a while to get back to like what was normal behavior before.
Yeah.
It just seems like that will be the case. But then again, I don't know. There's a lot of people. I'm not sure.
I have no idea. Yeah.
But it's cool, I guess, from a photo standpoint, when you can go to a place that maybe is usually like crawling with people and there's not so many of them.
Yeah. There was one place, the Prairie Creek, there was nobody there. We were the only ones. And as we were leaving, we ran into a few people, a few cars.
Yeah.
But that place is a bit of a hike. It's not like Damnation, where it's like a, real quick. This other one, you really got to work.
Like a day of hiking to get there kind of thing?
Not that a day of hiking. It's just, it's just all uphill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a long, sustained uphill. But it's nice. Worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to write down some more of your spots that you probably know about that I don't, for the next time I go up there. And you know a lot of spots, right? I mean, you do a lot of workshops in the area, don't you?
Too many workshops, mostly in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
Just, photo tours and workshops, private workshops.
Yeah.
I was going to start doing, group workshops, and I was going to get a permit from the Golden Gate National Park, and they were going to give me monthly permits. And, but then the whole thing happened. Yeah. They're not.
Are you talking about that thing that like F-Stoppers published? The one about
no.
That's situation?
That's the Golden Gate Bridge. Who cares about them? The Golden Gate National, the National Park part of it.
Yeah.
And because I could do weekly group workshops at like different locations that are part of the national park. And the lady, I paid the fees and application, and we were about to pull the trigger, and then the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
I can't even go to the garden I used to go to and watch birds. It's only for members only. And to become a member, it's like it's a 2-year long waiting list.
No shit.
At the Fort Baker or Fort Mason garden. They have a really pretty garden there with a shitload of birds.
Yeah. So what, you were like on your way to getting it or something, and then it the COVID situation screwed it up? Or?
I was going to get it, and then she said, now we have to wait till June, and it's June now, and she's, they're not doing anything. They're not having events.
Yeah.
They're not to the point where they're going to have events, let people, it's considered an event, a small event.
Yeah. Dude, that sucks. I mean, the whole situation.
But it doesn't matter. I got a job. Somebody hired me, and then now I'm fine. Yeah. Now photography doesn't matter right now. I don't care. I don't have to depend on my photography to survive. I can do other things.
Yeah, you're like a contractor or something like that. I always see.
I'm working for a contractor. He hired me. You know, I do contracting work and construction management, but you know, there's an attorney that I work for, and he's good for one project a year. But now I got this other guy, you know, hired me, and I'm making more money.
Yeah,
I have my own tools. And I'm like running crews, a crew of guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess how much of would you say you depend on like photography versus construction and stuff?
Well, before I was doing a lot more photography, and it was like half and half. Now it's like, you know, whatever I can get from photography is, you know, someone buys a print here and there.
Right.
But I am going to do some workshops with the sunflower fields. I'm going up there to scout it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I be honest, man? Like that kind of bums me out to hear you say that.
Sorry, I am not, I don't know how to like do it like all these other guys do it. Organize all this, you know, I've always had this problem where I needed money. I know what I have to do. I have to travel and go to the locations like where all the heavy hitters go.
Yeah.
And then you create a package, but it takes money to do that. There's nobody giving me any money. And I've got always, whenever I would like do a construction job for Curliano, I would work 3 months, but then it would always like be the time when I'm supposed to be traveling. And I used the money I made. I had to buy a new computer and camera equipment, and I got a chance to go to Patagonia, but, and I'm going to do something there next year.
Yeah.
If it opens up again, because I have some contacts there, but you know, there's so many things and places I want to go so I can make these tours, and then I could live off my photography. Cause you know, a lot of people want to be around me and take workshops. I have a mailing list that's a mile long, and, I need like an associate also that can help me with like getting all this stuff together. I'm not the one. I can barely spell. I can barely read and write.
Yeah. Well, you know, I gotta figure that the organization and like having a fire under your ass constantly about, you know, monetizing photography is gotta be tough. Like that's gotta be.
Yeah. So I want to learn commercial photography, but I don't know. I don't have a problem doing construction work if I can make the same money, you know?
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to be like, you know, critical or anything like that. I guess my perspective on it was like, I'm coming from the angle of like the myriad of other photographers with a small following on Instagram or whatever that are starting to get like pretty good now. And you know what I mean? And so, and we've got our own like rock stars on social media or whatever that are photographers. Right. And so you always hope that the ones that have this like big following and just do awesome work, you know, you're always kind of like, cool, like maybe one day I'll get there. You know what I mean? And so
I've never figured out how to monetize my Instagram like everybody, because there's like that's a whole nother world of, you know, those guys that are always traveling and getting paid to travel. I just don't know how they do it. So I'm not the one. Plus I'm older than a lot of them, you know, and I never was able to fit in.
You think you kind of missed like the social media?
Well, I'm just older. Yeah. And plus some people, you know, might not want to be around me. They take it too serious. So I don't want to joke around.
Right.
My stories too. And I'm doing crazy stories all the time. And, you know, and businesses and companies, they watch that stuff and they see, we're not going to use him. He's out of his mind. So
you think the oh boy is scaring away the devil and
screaming and yelling, just the weird stuff that I do is enough for me to not get a job.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I would imagine there's got to be brands out there that would think that was like
I don't know. I don't know
charming, like, you know, you could be oh boy could be their new expression or something.
I don't know how to do it. I never figured out how to do it. So every once in a while I get something, but you know, I don't depend on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know who, you know, I know I have a good base of followers, but then there's, you know, lately, you know, there's a lot of like bots and weird accounts, following and unfollowing, because they want you to like take their service, and they don't give you likes anymore. That's not the thing. Now they just give you impressions.
Right.
And I always get into these, like, I try to tell them, look, maybe there is a way to take impressions from these people and it helps your Instagram. I don't know. But, you know, they follow you. What they do is they follow you. And right when you post a picture, they don't like, but they just look at it. And the more people that look at your picture, apparently, then it goes to another place, and Instagram lets your real followers see the picture. If you know. But now, you know, when you have a business account, you know, Instagram wants you to pay them. They can block. They have a way to block. When I post a picture and use hashtags, they have a way to turn that picture off so nobody sees it.
Right.
New people will see it, and barely any of my people will see it. Regular people, they want you to pay them, and then they can turn it on. But it just, you know, I even had an interview with somebody that works for Instagram, and I tried to explain that to them, and you know, they're like showing me these things. What does this mean to you about my impressions? I said, you know, I told them I don't believe any of your impressions, because you want me to think that I need to pay you for more people to see my picture. They didn't like that when I told them that. Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean,
they want you to think that, oh God, I'm doing so bad, and you know, pay them for more people. But I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I mean, especially take pictures, though. I'm not going to ever stop doing that.
Well, no, of course not. And you're not the first person that I've talked to that has expressed a lot of frustration with Instagram. I think most people are annoyed at, you know, the agenda, which is
fun. And, you know, and if you're not in an engagement group where when you're liking and commenting on everybody's pictures at the same time, and then, you know, then you have just a bunch of influencers liking and commenting your pictures, and influencers are not going to pay me for a workshop. So that's why I never did that.
Right. Yeah.
Influencers are kids running around, Instagrammers. They're not going to buy workshops.
Right.
Yeah. Engagement groups is just like, if you want to have a lot of likes and lots of comments for some company, maybe to give you a thing. But then, you know, the really good companies that pay the good money, you know, they watch that stuff, and they know what engagement groups are, and they know that it's like, unless it's some company that wants to sell something to influencers, some kind of like little gadget or something.
Sometimes it's kind of obvious. Like sometimes I'll like, there's certain even like, you know, Instagram, like photo curators, for example, like every once in a while I'll stumble upon one where I'm like, oh, it's so obvious that they're doing a lot of that. Like you can tell that like just the comments are very like, you know, boilerplate-y kind of.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing with an engagement group though, is you got to leave like an authentic comment so it doesn't look like a bot. But you can't use bots to leave comments. Your account will get shut down.
Yeah. Dude, have you seen all those like the Bitcoin and like Forex ones?
Yeah.
Dude.
Those people, they'll go for a couple days and then they have to create another account because it just gets shut down.
Yeah, but they're there. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Bitcoin. My God.
I mean,
is Bitcoin still a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I have no issue against Bitcoin, but the people that are just like, here's a picture of a mountain. And then they're like, Mr. Johnson sold me on the idea 4 years ago of buying into his Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And I'm so happy I did. And you're like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
I mean, if we would have just bought Bitcoin when it first came out, then we'd all be rich.
Yeah. Well, what was the first, I remember my friend was telling me like a couple of months ago, the first Bitcoin trade was, well, I don't know, whatever, like 15 years ago or something. And it was like, someone gave somebody like 200 Bitcoin for like a pizza or something like that. Like something, it's not exactly that. I'm semi talking it out of my ass here, but it was something like that. And you know, like today that pizza would have been worth like however many, like millions of dollars or something. Just one of those ridiculous stories. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, you're definitely not the first person that has complained about all the spammy,
the spam, lots of spam. And, you know, I've tried everything, you know, okay, I'm going to reply to everybody's comments, and then I didn't see it making a difference. Of course, if someone asks me a question, I always will reply. But these great shot, this, that, all those, saying thank you to comments just makes you have more comments, numbers, make your numbers. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to make more money. So I stopped doing it. And then I even, if I was making money at it, I could pay my roommate to respond to comments for me. You can pay a real person to be like your manager and manage your account. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And, you work back and forth with the person that's managing the account. And, real people are responding to comments and I'm answering questions, saying thank you to the person that said great shot. Why not have somebody else do it for you if you can afford it?
Yeah.
But it has to be somebody either your sister, your brother, or somebody in your family that you can trust logging into your account.
Like someone that would know what you would say. Is that what you mean?
Somebody, well, you go over the whole thing, and you can work that out with somebody. But of course, you have to always be able to answer the question. So it has to be somebody that you can work closely with.
Yeah. Is it ever weird for you? Like, I mean, you have a pretty big Instagram following. And so I obviously when you post a photo, you get like a shitload of comments.
Not really, not anymore. Cause people, if you don't say thank you to people for leaving a comment, then, less people leave comments, or Instagram is blocking. This is another thing. Instagram could be blocking, knows the people that leave comments and stopped them from leaving comments and lets them only see a picture every once in a while. That algorithm is diabolical.
Yeah, agreed.
It is such a mind. They're trying to mess with our heads so much because they just want people to pay them for their marketing.
Yeah.
I told the lady, why don't you just charge us? If they charged everybody $5 a month to have a professional grade Instagram account, you know how many billions of dollars they're going to make? They don't have to mess around with these ads. Everybody would pay the $5 and then so they get the engagement or get whatever it is they need. So people can see their pictures.
Maybe. I don't know how much they make.
Instagram says I don't have anybody that follows me in San Francisco.
Really?
I have no followers in San Francisco, according to Instagram.
That's obviously wrong.
That's because they want me to believe that so I can pay them to reach my people in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But, there's Hype Auditor, they analyze your account and they know where your followers are. And
I sasaw that where it says like what the likelihood is of like a fake
Hype
follower
Auditor.
base.
It's a free thing. You sign up and you don't have to give them your password, but they just look at your account somehow. They can determine where all your followers are, how old they are, or this or that, and how much your posts are worth. And
yeah. Well, I could understand the frustration with the company for sure. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw, there was a guy, he was on a couple shows. I think he was on a Joe Rogan podcast, maybe like a couple of years ago. And I think he was on the Bill Maher's, Bill Maher, like talked to him on HBO, but he was, I'm going to be sloppy with his title, but he was some sort of like executive type of guy on like ethics for social media platforms. Like what should they be able to do? What maybe should they not be able to do, that sort of thing. And he had this really like thorough breakdown of just the idea of like the Instagrammer is essentially like when you're just searching through photos and whatnot, it's essentially just a slot machine. I mean, in other words, they could give you what you probably would want to see because they know roughly what you want to see. But the idea is that we only show you a little bit of what you want to see so that way you'll keep swiping. In other words, like we're not going to give you everything that you want so that you can go, good, I'm done. I can turn the app off now. I can go about my day. They're basically saying like, there's always going to be sort of another thing around the corner for you to continue swiping. And in doing so, you see the most ads because every like third photo now is like now an ad.
Yeah.
But
they stopped for a while, then they all of a sudden came back,
Yeah.
They spared us for a while. Now they're just coming back full force.
Yeah. And the stories.
Some of the ads that I get. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in any case, it's too bad that you get all like sort of caught in between like some of the like construction gigs and then wanting to like, I just want to get out here, but I've got this thing at the same time. That's probably pretty tough.
Well, I have this guy that I work for now, and I look, sometimes I need to go, and he said that's fine. They have a hard time finding good people, contractors that they can just dump at a job and then just leave.
Right.
That just people they don't have to babysit.
Right. So do you do all the work in that area that you're in now, or in like San Fran area, or do you do work in New York as well? Because you're there pretty frequently, right?
Well, I mean, I usually go to New York in September and stay there and do workshops there with my friend Carrot. But I don't know. I just, I don't, for me to go there and I have to be able to make money. I just can't sit around. So
yeah,
I have to have stuff lined up, and it's hard to line all that stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I know that, and I know that like pretty much everybody that I've talked to, all their workshops got canceled because of the whole.
They're doing them again now, but only in the United States. International ones will be a while.
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel about travel right now? Are you kind of anxious about it, or are you?
I mean, I'm not anxious. I mean, I don't travel that much, but I don't know. We'll have to see what happens in the fall if the second wave comes. If everybody's coughing and sick and fevers,
I kind of feel like
I think they're just going to brush it under the boards. It's just going to be like a regular thing, People are going to get sick. People are not going to get sick.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's pretty serious though, because in such a short amount of time, so many people have died, and you can't compare those numbers to like just the regular flu, because the regular flu is for the whole entire year. We've only been in this 3 or 4 months,
right?
And more people died than the whole Vietnam War,
right?
In 4 months, and they fought the war for over 7 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think that one of the like tests that we're going to see probably pretty soon is like how sick what's going to be the uptick in cases or deaths as a result of all the protests that have been going on. That I feel like that's like the big question for me right now is like, okay, I mean, this is what we were like afraid of, and this is what we were basically like, no one can do this, and now all of a sudden thousands and thousands of people are all together. I'm kind of sitting here like,
shut the Golden Gate Bridge down today.
I saw that
the whole road over.
Yeah, that was crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. Has that ever happened?
When is it going to end? When are they going to change the legislation? Are they going to change the legislation? What are they going to do? What does everybody want? What can be done? It's a real tricky situation.
Yeah.
It's a real tricky situation. It's really, really, really terrible thing that nobody knows what to do. I mean, they know what to do, but they just don't do it.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. This is the first podcast I've done in almost 2 weeks. It's like the longest break that I've had. And so of course in that time, everything with George Floyd and all the aftermath of the whole situation has happened. And to be honest, I was even kind of wondering, like before we did ours today, I was almost like, should I say something? Should I like talk about it? Should we talk about it? Like,
over here, there was a couple of nights I was coming home Monday night. I was on the freeway and I didn't think, but they really went crazy Monday night. They had like a organized effort on burglary. They used a forklift and opened up a Best Buy in Emeryville. They opened up another Best Buy, and they opened up 4 Best Buys, and plus Hilltop Mall, and it was an unstoppable event.
That's so crazy that there's like these organized,
the criminal
professional looters, you know?
Well, it's not. Well, I was reading the drug dealers are having a hard time with their supply chain right now. So now they always have to, criminals always have to have a way to make money. So if they see an opportunity, they're going to take it.
Yeah. It's just
all that stuff that they took went somewhere, and it's going to be sold somewhere.
Yeah. It's too bad that they get caught up in the same. I mean, I think people now are beginning to be able to discern the different groups of people within all this, but it's too bad that like initially you kind of had like so many like news media and whomever would like kind of lump in like protesters and looters into the same category. And then you realize like there are people that are just protesting, and then there are people that are like taking advantage of it.
Yeah. I was in Oregon when all this was happening.
Uh-huh.
So we were kind of like safe.
Yeah. Well, Portland had some stuff going on.
Portland had stuff too, but we were 700, we were 7 hours away from Portland.
Yeah.
We just heard everything going on, and there's nothing we could do, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was like on a trip up in Northern California in Fort Bragg or something. I was like on a romantic getaway, and when we woke up in the morning, that whole thing. So, we ended the trip, came back. This was, when I was, I had a motorcycle and I was doing different things.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I think I would say the last, 3 months, basically since March, probably, at least in my life, I don't know about your life, but I would say probably the most significant, period of time that I've ever witnessed between the virus and then of course like immediately after, like the biggest civil rights thing ever. I don't in this country, maybe, I don't know. Is it bigger than what
they're going to have
67?
to take the police, and the police are going to have to go through. There should be a way to weed out who's racist and who's not racist. And then if there's racist police that have a hard time with figuring this out, when to use force and when not to use force, they should just not be a cop. There's got to be something else they can do. Be a fireman.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell you figure that out in advance. I mean, maybe you could have more testing or something.
There has to be somebody that is a police officer already and has to go around training these other police officers, somebody that's from the hood, a cop that's from the hood or from wherever, go around and do these trainings. And, there's got to be a way to determine. I mean, the military can do it.
Right. I think that, so I've seen, there's so much stuff everywhere. I mean, it's like, it's so rough. It's such a rough period of time right now.
Yeah.
It's so like, I really am conflicted between, I'm just staring at a screen for hours and I'm just like, oh my God, this whole thing is so crazy. And then I'll just need to be done with it for like a while. Like the last couple of days, I haven't really been paying much attention because I was just like, there's only so much of this I can absorb at one time. And it just starts to make me just weird. I don't know. So like just weird thoughts. But a lot of the stuff that I see, I feel like is kind of, it's not really helpful. It's like, I see a lot of like shaming, and I see a lot of this idea that like, if you're not doing certain things to, which are like anti-racist or something, exactly the way that I feel that you should do them, then, you're not like really doing anything. But then I'll see a lot of posts and things that are like, look, everyone kind of treats this a little bit differently as long as they're, an ally or whatever, as long as they're sort of like, look, there's a problem. We should be, looking into this. We should be solving it, blah, 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 blah. As long as people are on that team, I don't know that they should really be like shamed, but I see a lot of like, situations where people are kind of shaming other people into doing a particular thing. And I'm not really on board with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've been through a lot, I've been to state in the 1990s. I was in, I had to go to San Quentin. I was in prison and I had to live a segregated life. We had white people, black people, others, and Latinos. And there's two groups of Latinos, Northern and Southern, and each race has their own TV. So, and
that's wild.
So, and then white people can't interact with black people, and white people can't interact with Northern Mexicans. And it was it's crazy. It's a whole crazy thing that I had to deal with. And then I didn't want to go back to state prison. So, I had to adjust. So I never kept that prison mentality. I got out and I went right to work because I already was a carpenter. And then the year 2000, I created my own business, antique lighting business, and just never went back. But I got in trouble again because I started using drugs again. So
that was why you were there initially in the 90s?
Well, I was there initially because I was on drugs and I was a criminal. I was a thief.
Huh.
Yeah. I stole things off buildings, anything.
Yeah. Was that just like for, just survival and
just survival and get more drugs?
You're just in a real bad spot, huh?
Well, I wasn't. I mean, I could have done whatever I wanted, but I started using drugs when I was really young. So, and then, it just ruined everything, changed me. I could never get sober. And then, when I went to prison, I didn't even have to go to prison, but I said, I'm done. I just want to go. I couldn't take the whole going to court and so I went and I got out and I went to rehab and stayed sober for a little while, 3 or 4 years, and then started drinking and using again in 2000. Huh. And it took me to 2009, I got sober again, and I have been sober since. But, when I was really messed up in the early 2000s, I decided I wanted to be a photographer when I was on drugs. And then when I got out the last time, I lost everything, but I had an insurance check. So I bought, new Nikon camera and computer and started all over again.
Do you remember how exactly, was there a particular thing that got you into photography, or you flirted with the idea?
I was making, I had a shop here on Treasure Island and I was carving stone. And I was making these really fancy, elaborate chandeliers out of the rocks. And I had a friend that went to Dominican college, and she was an artist. And she also went to the Academy of Art for 8 years. And she was a photographer. And she would come and we would set up the area and she would photograph the lights. And she said, "Why don't you buy a camera, Bruce?" I said, "I don't know what to buy." And I went to Calumet when they were still in business, and I just asked questions, and they said, "Here, buy the D7000. It's a great camera." There was a guy there, Brad. He teaches people how to use Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff. He said, "This is a good camera. It just came out. It's a game-changing camera, the D7000." So I bought 2 of them. And then I bought lenses And I said, they're trying to sell me the crop sensor lenses. And I said, well, what if I want to upgrade to a full frame camera? Well, no, they won't work. So I said, well, will full frame camera lenses work on this camera? They said, yeah, but it costs more money. I said, well, I don't want to buy the lenses twice. Mm-hmm. So I bought the 14 to 24, the 24 to 70, and the 70 to 200.
Yep.
Yeah.
The big three.
And then my dad helped me get, I was really into photographing birds and wildlife. And my dad helped me get the 400 millimeter 2.8 prime lens, 11,000.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the 400 2.8. That's no joke.
Yeah. So I went, but I was like, I was really messed up. I was fooling everybody. I was able to fake it, except Carolyn knew. She knew I was on drugs because she did drugs too. We always used drugs together, but she was able to maintain. I don't know where she is now. I don't know if she's doing too good, but, as far as like the people that were around me, the adults and people that worked with me and around didn't know I was on drugs because I hadn't started to collapse yet. Mm-hmm. And, it just came to the point I just started hearing voices. And, I lived on Treasure Island and I was just going around photographing birds. And I would, wherever I would go in Marin County, photographing birds. And then somebody said, why don't you start taking landscapes? I said, do I have to use a tripod? And they said, yeah, it helps. And,
right.
Cause I hated tripods. I never wanted to use it. And then, so I started taking photographing the city from Treasure Island, all different, that's how I figured out all the spots. Cause I lived here and I wandered around, but I was hearing voices the whole time. So it was just, my days were numbered.
And that, what you're saying, you were hearing that because of some stuff that you were on, or like you have like a condition or something?
No, I was hearing voices because I was in meth-induced psychosis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was so far gone, that 400 millimeter lens, I had it attached to a D7000 camera and a gimbal and a monopod. I left it on the side of the hill on Treasure Island and never went back for it.
Do you know whatever happened to it?
Oh, somebody found it in a boat, probably.
Man.
But I had insurance. So, I was like, I made an insurance claim. I got everything back except for that lens.
Wow. Yeah. That's a big,
yeah.
That's probably doubles or at least everything else that you.
Yeah. But I had to go through so much to get sober, so many weeks, spending years at 850 Bryant in the jail. And, I started going back to jail in 2004. And then I would go for, 18 months. I would get out, stay sober for a month and start using again, and then have to go back again and then get out. So it took 3 times. And after the third time is when now I've been clean since 2009.
Is this the longest stretch?
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
I won't use ever again. Because then I came out and it was just different. I came out this time and and then I found out about Instagram. I was living in a warehouse in Oakland, and my friend, the lady who it was an art gallery, and I kind of lived on the couch, and she said, well, don't you know about Instagram? And I said, what's that? And then, so I got on Instagram and I started meeting all kinds of people. And then now I'm in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll say.
I was hanging out back in those days. We would have meetups and we would hang out and do stuff. And now it's like, I go hang out with Chris or some other guys, or not the big group meetups like we used to have.
Yeah.
Now, then I started eventually people wanting to ask me questions because my pictures were getting better and better. And then, I figured, okay, well, I'll do workshops or private ones or photo tours. And I bought a Sprinter van that I can, I have 2 rows of seats that I can transport people. And I have really good insurance, tour tour insurance. I can have people in my van and I'm covered. And
yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's first of all, thanks for saying that, dude. I mean, I appreciate you being, honest and humble about that.
Yeah.
That's a crazy journey.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to say is the police are frazzled because they are walking around on eggshells. Some of them are so stupid. They can't tell the difference of who's a bad guy and who's a good guy. And, when they're driving around, wherever it is they're driving around, and they see people, they don't know if it's like somebody that is like they're looking for or somebody that might have shot at them the day before. They just are just in,
Yeah.
I mean, I know from experience when I was, not on the up and up and I'm driving around, I was on their radar and, they were on me. And then when I resisted arrest, they wanted to kill me too. A couple of times. They beat the hell out of me.
Because you were the guy always giving them trouble.
I know. I just didn't want to come out of my workshop. I was barricaded in there and they knocked the door down and they were all out there and they were their rifles and hitting me and stepping on me. And I was in the hospital for a week.
Wow.
San Francisco police, they did not like me. Now they don't remember. Now they don't remember me.
Right. It's been
just like
the statute of limitations has
they don't even know. There's some of those cops. What are you doing letting this guy back in here? Because I would get out of jail and then my friend rented the building again so I could go in there and work. And then the same thing happened. They just didn't like me. When they don't like somebody, they just, they don't like you. And,
well, clearly, man. I mean,
and if you yell at them and stuff, then they start shaking.
Yeah.
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 I've been around them. I know. I've been around the cops when they want to kill you. They start shaking and, they just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can't get away with it anymore. They have to like really do something. I mean, those cops that did that to George Floyd, man, there was really stupid people right there. You have one guy standing there while the other guy's doing what he's doing for however long he's doing it for.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
It doesn't make any sense. Why didn't they pick him up and put him in the car and take him to the jail? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And one of the craziest things too is that like ever since the protests in response, began, it's like guys, hello PSA police officers, like everyone is filming you right now. Like everyone is rooting for you guys to fuck up. And it's amazing to me that in spite of that, every single day, there's like now a new lawsuit. There's a new thing. There's somebody else got fired and somebody else is now having charged. And it's like, guys, like, and by the way, I think being a police officer is an impossible job. I really do. I don't, it's such a difficult job.
In 1994 or 1994, the Marin County, all of the cops, when I got arrested, all of the cops had me at the Marin County Civic Center. They had people from Cocoa County, people from San Francisco, all these detectives had me in this room and they wanted me to tell on my friends. I said, okay, you want me to tell on my friends? You send me to the academy and I will become the best cop you've ever seen. Undercover cop, whatever. But you send me to the academy. And they said, no, we can't do it. I said, I'm not telling all my friends. And then that was it. I went off. And then here we are today.
Wait, I don't understand.
They wanted me to tell on my friends. And I said, I won't do it. The only way I would do it is if you send me to the police academy and then I'll come back as a cop and then we'll do it. But,
so like give me a free ride, like the training or whatever to become a cop?
I would have been a cop. I would have sent me to the police academy and I'll become a police officer. And then no one's going to know that I'm a police officer and I can come back and be an undercover cop in Marin County, in San Rafael, or whatever it is they wanted to do. And then, you know, bust people the right way. But I'm not going to go rat on anybody.
Uh-huh. And they weren't keen on that.
No, Bruce, we're not going to do that. I was so far gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's it. You know, I'm not going to tell you guys anything.
Yeah. I'm picturing you like trying to finagle that, that deal out of
No,
them.
you can't tell on anybody. And then you get out of jail and everybody wants to know why you're out of jail. Then you're just labeled. You know, I end up in a ditch somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, man, like, so I guess you do have an interesting perspective then on the whole thing and how,
yes, I do.
How police are looking at this.
I came from, you know, I was on the other side of the streets and I was in the crosshairs of the police for many, many years, all the way up until 2006. You know, it was either Marin County, it was Contra Costa County, or San Francisco. I was in their crosshairs.
Yeah.
I mean, Marin County still has not forgotten me. Let me tell you, because I was taking pictures for me and one of my Instagram friends many years ago. We were photographing, we were doing something. We were there's a place called the Lava House in Tiburon, and it's an abandoned lot, and it's got a view of the Golden Gate Bridge. We were up there standing on the driveway, and the Tiburon police came, and they said, "What are you guys doing?" And we're taking pictures. And then they wanted to see our driver's license, and they ran my ID, and the cops, "Oh, wait a minute." You could hear all of the back and forth on the radio, and they said, "We need to search you." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, my boss said you left a legacy up here." I said, "That's 25 years ago. That was in the 90s.
Did you know who his boss was? Like, did you?
No, I don't know
the guy's name or anything?
They know my name.
Right.
So, they searched me and went through all my camera equipment. And it happened a few times. One time when I was with my girlfriend, we were taking pictures by the Golden Gate Bridge, and they came and they wanted to search me because I was in Marin County.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was in Marin County and I was somewhere and the cops came right now, they asked my ID, they're going to search me after all these years.
That's crazy.
After all these years, since the 1990s.
So once you're kind of in the system.
If I was in San Rafael, they'd probably want to detain me.
Mm-hmm. So once you're in the system, it's pretty tough to get out.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, you could do a background check on me. Nothing will come up, but the police, they know.
Mm-hmm.
They know.
What was the situation that kind of like viral situation with the Golden Gate? Like I don't know, what was that? Like a few months ago?
Well,
the one, it seemed like F-stoppers went to bat for you. I thought I remember
a lot
in the
of
article.
F-stoppers and the other one, Petapixel. They wrote a good story too. He did the whole thing is me and my friend Bobby, it's low tide, really low tide. And we went over there because he wanted to get that shot with the angle. And I mean, the tide was so low, we're able to go out into the water and literally. So this is the thing. When you have a fence that comes down and stops at the edge of land, and on the fence, there are signs that say no trespassing. How far does that imaginary line go out into the water? Does it go all the way to Oakland? What is the rule?
Yeah.
What is the rule? Where does it stop? Okay, we didn't climb over the fence and we were not walking on the road. And I know the signs that say no trespassing are for the road and the land. It doesn't say you can't go out in the water. So we walked out there was no water. It was a sandy beach. Not a sandy beach. It's like sand with rocks. And me and Bobby walked all the way out there. And the cops came and they were way on the road, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet up on a hill, up on the road. And he said, "What are you guys doing? Come." And we didn't. We were out there. We finished doing what we were doing. We were taking pictures. And then we said, "We better go, Bobby." He's starting to get upset. And we were walking down along the coast. The cops all, "Come on up here." And we're all, "No, we're going to go the same way we came in." We walked all the way out and back up to the road where you're allowed to be without climbing a fence and doing whatever it is. We didn't go over a fence. This is my whole thing. Where does that line stop? How far does it go out into the water?
Right.
And Bobby said, "Okay, well, we know we're allowed. Coastal access is allowed everywhere in California, unless it's posted in the water. Like if it's a military base, it'll say off limits, beach off limits or whatever. There's no sign that says the water's off limits right there." So the cops all, "What are you guys doing? We're over here doing this." And Bobby's all, we're allowed to be out there. And so another guy came and we explained to him what we were doing. So it took about 45 minutes and he was on his phone. I said, "Look at the sign right there and then go to your phone and see what those statute numbers mean." And it took him a while and he's all, "There's a gray area here. And looks like you're right. You're allowed to be out there, but we don't want you out there."
Huh.
And he didn't give us a ticket, because, they were right there. All these cops came and they just were really baffled that we were out there and we knew we were allowed to be out there, but they don't want you out there. And, it would have been different if we would have, walked up to the road and then walked back the road with the cops. So no, we walked on the same way we came. And so several months went by. That was Christmas time, 2019, it was Christmas Eve when me and Bobby went out there. And then several months went by and I got a letter in the mail from the Golden Gate Bridge telling me that I was out there. I have an illegal angle of the bridge tower with the blood moon. So they automatically assumed that I was there when the blood moon was passing over the bridge, and it's a closed area.
Wait, I don't understand. What was the relevance of the moon? Why was that even a subject?
Well, because it caught their attention. They went to my website and they thought that I'm some Getty with deep pockets or something. And
like Getty images.
Who knows what they thought? They just think that I'm somebody. But I never responded to the letter. So I sent the letter to the news, to the ABC. I sent the letter to different news agencies, and one of them got back to me and they wanted to interview me out there. I don't know. Or I thought the guy was going to clown me and make me out to look like a fool. But, I just, but the sign says no trespassing. I said, the sign says no trespassing. I know that's for the road, not for the water. And that was the whole thing. I never responded to them. So I don't know what they're thinking. They wanted me to take my picture down. They wanted to audit my website. They want to relinquish any funds that I may have made or this or that. And the picture's still there. And
I really don't understand the wanting you to take the photo down aspect legally. To me, I don't like, I'm not even saying, I'm not even taking.
Bridge District is hurting for money. So they want to come after somebody, whoever. You're theoretically, nobody is supposed to sell a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge unless you get a licensing permit from them.
Oh, I see.
And how many millions of pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Of course.
Stock images everywhere.
Yep.
Okay. And then this whole thing, I didn't respond to the letter. I didn't say F you or anything. And I just, I've just been silent about it. And I'm just going to stick to my guns. They'll have to go all the way to wherever they have to go to go to my hosting company. And the hosting company is going to have to tell me to take the picture down. and it's going to be a big waste of money.
Right.
Because I don't think they can, because there are no signs in the water. The signs only on the fence. So where does the line go into the water? How far?
Yeah.
Does it go? And these are Golden Gate Bridge cops. They weren't National Park. They were the Bridge District cops.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to like picture this in my head where like what you're talking about, where the fence and the sign is almost, it's almost like different interpretations as to what the sign means.
The sign is for the area, the land,
right,
not the water.
Right.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah. So was the fact that the tide was as low as it was,
we're able to gain access without having to go near the fence.
Right. So ordinarily you wouldn't have even been able to go there anyway, because the water level would have been so high.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole nother element that makes it kind of like, well, like it's harder to sort of prove their point.
Yeah,
of
because
like,
on the other side of the bridge, Fort Point, there's another sign just like that. And it stops and there's rocks. And every single day there's people that are surfing and they walk along the rocks and go past the sign and go underneath the bridge. Every single day you could be on a sailboat or any kind of boat and you could get the exact same angle.
Right. Yeah, that is funny to think about.
The surfers.
Right.
But on Marshall Beach, on the other side, there's a fence and a sign, and the fence stops, and there's a giant wall that goes down, and then it's a beach. Okay? So right after this happened, there was like a day, it was a really epic sunset was going to be, and we all went over there, and the beach is open. And, the sign stops, the fence stops, and then there's the big wall and then the beach. And we went past where the sign was, and we could hear on the loudspeaker,
mm-hmm.
Photographers, delete your pictures, and you're not supposed to be there. And we're just, wait a minute, we're on the beach. We're not near the bridge. So we didn't, we stepped back, we walked back about 20 feet.
Uh-huh.
Right to where the sign and the imaginary line is, and that's where we set up and continued with our sunset. So my camera is pointing at the bridge. So if I step over the line and take the same picture, then it's an illegal angle. But if I'm right at the line and I take a picture of the bridge at the line, but my camera, my field of view is past the line. They don't say anything. It's
so nitpicky.
So then I did the thing with petapixels. I was like over on the Fort Point side, and I had a group of people. I was doing a little private workshop with two women, and we were sitting there. And I said, "Well, here's the sign, everybody, and there are the surfers. You see them going right by. And if I point my camera past this sign, does it become an illegal angle?"
Mm-hmm.
Because if I step 1 inch on the other side of the sign, then it's an illegal angle. So all of this, stuff, they wrote about it, and that's the question.
Right.
What constitute an illegal angle?
What was the first item that you received, and was it like a letter? No one called you
saying to take that picture down, blood moon picture.
Take the picture down like that.
Yeah.
See,
and give them the money, all the money I ever made on it.
That's such a strange.
They didn't say, well, we could split the money you made. They wanted all of it.
And they used the phrase, quote, illegal angle. That's what they called it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that's like,
and
that's it was like someone's.
I put the blood moon there with the bridge.
Oh, it was a composite.
The blood moon passed right by there. But it was I wasn't there. That picture was taken, the Golden Gate Bridge picture was taken in, 2015.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you just composited in the moon then?
Composited for Instagram. Right. Yeah.
Huh. It almost makes you wonder.
I didn't claim for it. I didn't claim that it was going to be some kind of thing. It's just a picture.
Yeah.
sold one of those pictures. So I don't sell any pictures.
No, like prints?
No. Well, I made a mistake of, there's like a company in San Francisco called, they take your files and then they market them.
You talking about Getty Images?
No. It's a small business, and they I get royalties. But the problem is those files that they have, you can go to JCPenney's website and you'll see my pictures, Macy's, all of these online wall art places have my images. And that was a big mistake, because now if somebody wants to buy one of my pictures on my website, they can just punch my name up and then all these other images will come up on Pinterest and wherever,
Right.
And I hardly get any money. Every 4 times a month, 4 times a year, I get $250 from them.
And you can't get out of that?
I don't know. Damage is done. I don't even care. I told them,
I feel like
it's going to work against me. And they said, no, they just wanted my images. I don't recommend that to any photographer to do that.
To license.
Well, they're not licensing it. These people are just, I don't know what they're doing, but I don't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anybody, if you want to sell a license, your image to somebody, you do it you agree on a price and you get paid up front, not royalties. Right. Unless it's for like Apple or some kind of company, but not for a company that takes images and goes around and shops them to like Big Lots or all those stores where you go and you see pictures on the shelf for really cheap.
Yeah.
It's not the way to do it. That was a big mistake I ever did as far as images.
I've got to figure that's such an easy mistake for people to make too, because like if you're not like, if maybe it's your first time or you're one of your first couple times getting into some kind of a commercial thing where someone's like,
you can license an image to, like, say the Salesforce Tower wants to put the picture in the lobby.
Mm-hmm.
You do it right to them and you agree on a contract. But for some company that is going to market your images to other companies, don't do it. I don't recommend it.
Right. Yeah. Well, because they instantly make your product so much cheaper. They're just, they're the Uber of.
So one thing they don't have too many of my great images. They don't have hardly any really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
All the latest really good ones that I have, they don't have. So.
Well, that's true. Yeah. And I mean, you're always getting better, right? Like, do you still feel that way? Do you still feel like I'm always getting better every year?
The problem is my name and these pictures. So if someone wants to buy a picture and people research, I don't know. Every once in a while I sell one.
Yeah.
I don't try to market it or push it. So.
Right.
I just keep it, if someone wants to buy one or if someone wants to license an image, I just give them a price, and they, every once in a while you have people, they don't want to print. They just want to print it themselves.
Oh, really?
So then, all right, this is the price. And they say, why is it so high? I said, well, that's just the way it is.
Well, plus you can do whatever the hell you want with it once you have the file, which I don't claim
that. But I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to sell pictures. There's so many pictures out there.
There's so many good ones, man. That's like, there are a lot of good photographers out there.
Yeah. There's so many great images. It's like, how do you pick something you just has to grab you and stuff,
Yeah.
And then guys who sell pictures are guys that go to those trade shows and set up with a nice booth and have everything really nice and hang it on the wall. And people can walk in there and make a connection and lay down the hammer and you can close them. But that's a whole thing. You have to really protect your inventory, and you have to have a way to display it, and it's a whole involved thing. Your garage, you need some place to store these things. Boxes, it's a really dedicated thing, and you got to go to all these things. And
got to be good at sales too.
Well, that's just got to be able to, be there and people connect, and they have to be done well, printed the highest quality, printed on something that looks really nice and amazing, and people will buy them.
Yeah.
Or in a gallery, if you could get inside of a gallery,
Yeah. Yeah. It's for sure. It's a grind, man. I mean, I'm
having your pictures on a website and people just clicking your website is a hard way to sell them, because, people want to see them in person. That, people are going to really spend money.
That's true.
Really need to see what it looks like done. And in like Ryan Smith, he's a photographer. I feel he goes out of his way, and he has like a booth, and he goes to those shows, and they look amazing, and he sells them.
Yeah.
People who do that will sell, to go to those lengths to set up and to spend the money on the inventory and figure out how to protect it and hang it, and then you can sell it. And, you might have to have 2 or 3 of that one print ready, because you don't want to, so if you're going to have like 1 of 10 or whatever, or however it is you do it, you have to have all of them ready to go, because you can't just be selling them off the display.
Yeah.
But people usually don't like to buy them like that. They want to buy them. They see it, and then they want to buy the one that you have wrapped up, ready to go.
I'll tell you, man, like one of the first like, oh shit kind of moments that I had, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, was the realization of like, okay, I feel as though I've gotten to a point with my photography to where I can start, making some money at this. And it was like, I should, learn a little bit about printing. And then you realize the Pandora's box that you open as soon as you start researching, like, okay, like, how to print a good image. And it's like, oh my God, everything that I just learned about photography, it's like double it, because that's how long it could take you to learn about just printing and paper. And
when I first started, I thought that I could just print. I had friends on Treasure Island that had a print shop, and they would print images, and I would have hundreds of them. And I thought that I could like give them to people and they would sell, but it's not like that. They get damaged and ripped. You could sell them for $5 or $10, but they just get damaged. Real paper prints get damaged real easy.
Yeah. Do you have a medium that you like the most?
Well, I do I work with a company in San Francisco, Scale Up. It's a small outfit, and they have a product. It's called True Life Acrylic.
Okay.
It is really, 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 it's acrylic face mount. They're expensive to make, but they look amazing. Hardly any reflective quality at all. And the colors are amazing.
Yeah. I actually have yet to print on acrylic. I have a shop that I use. I think they're in LA. And they do like, prints, and then they've got like metal, and then acrylic. And I've never really tried to sell any of the acrylics because I'm so fearful that they're so expensive.
They're expensive,
that it's so hard to get people to spend that kind of money.
But it's a piece. What you have to like explain. They're like a piece. They're substantial. They're not like metal. And I don't like the metal ones. At first, metal was cool, but I don't like them. Now I do the acrylics.
Really? What don't you like about the metal, out of curiosity?
They're too shiny. Yeah.
Like too much glare?
Too much glare, yeah. They're just cheap. I think they're cheap.
Yeah. I don't think the resolution is high on the metal ones as acrylic either. I think there was some limitation in like the resolution that they could get on metal. That's what I thought I had done a little bit of research.
I don't know. I use PhotoWorks in San Francisco and Scale Up.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Scale Up. They have a staff account. So when something sells on my website, a message goes to them. They have the files. They just print it and get shipped out, just like a big company would.
Sure.
Their prices are competitive, but the quality control is unmatched. They cannot be matched. They're both artists. They look at every single little detail. They do not let anything go out of there. Other photo print places in the Bay Area, you could order a metal print from them and it'll come damaged. It'll come with bubbles in it. I had acrylic prints that completely delaminated and white spots came into started, growing inside the print.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to name any names, but I don't use them anymore, and I can't. It's like they don't even do their acrylic prints. They farm it out to some place where they use cheap products and do inferior work.
Yeah,
scale up. They do everything right there, and they watch it. And I could. They'll look at my picture and they're not, if there's something wrong with it, he's going to tell me.
That's
there's
cool.
a mistake, and they're not going to print mistakes. The other place will print people's mistakes and then send it out. So you really need to work with somebody, that, understands what they're looking at and will tell you if there's something wrong with it. Because, it's, if you print something and there's something wrong with it and they don't, let hey, there's a mistake here. What do you want to do about it? And
right.
This doesn't look so good.
Yeah.
That's why I like them. I like working with the small guys.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And man, like now more than ever, I can't, like, so many small businesses are like, I don't know what the hell is going to happen to a lot of these people. And I would imagine, like, yeah, printing companies and even camera companies, like there's so much stuff that I'm concerned about, and especially like the mom and pop, kind of places. Like how the hell do you survive for 3 months of nothing, and then followed by hey, okay, we can kind of work a little bit now. Some places maybe not, but some places yes. But are people going to be as concerned with buying prints right now? Like, I don't know, probably not.
I sold 2 little ones, 20 by 30s. Some guy bought one for his dad. He bought one for himself. It went pretty seamless,
Yeah.
It just gets, it goes to the website and then sent out. And then I had some other guy, but it turned out to be a scam. Every once in a while you get these people that are trying to scam you. Oh, I saw your photography. And then then how then it's like the same email. And then he's all, okay, well, I want a 40 by 60 True Life, but I need your address because somebody else handles my finances and my PayPal, so we can send you the PayPal check.
Right.
I didn't even respond to that. When I saw that, I'm all, oh, God.
Right.
These people have got some guy's identity or something. They're in another country and they have some guy that's a pastor in the Midwest, because that's who I thought I was dealing with. But it's actually somebody else in somewhere else that's running scams.
Yeah.
You really got to be careful that, of giving your address out. Next thing you give your address out, and then they're going to be, coming through the door when I'm not home.
Yeah.
With some, they're going to take everything.
I get a lot of that stuff whenever I'm trying to buy or sell, sell gear on Craigslist. And it's like if you're
do it. Yeah.
Dude, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like every lens that you've ever attempted to sell on Craigslist is always good for at least 11 emails and it's always something, like you said, it's always something like, my husband is a surgeon overseas.
Yes, I've been really sick and thanks for responding. And, your pictures are really nice. And, so we want the True Life. We want the 40 by 60. Are you firm on the price? The financing comes from, are you located in the United States? Then once they said that, I'm all, come on.
Right. And it's usually semi-broken English a lot of the times. Like it'll, although, dude, what's funny? I haven't mentioned this to anybody. I just realized I got a scam like voicemail the other day, and it was the most elaborate, like the most well done scam. Like even I'm so good at like sniffing out bullshit with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm the first one to be like, oh, and like I'll like troll the person that I'm talking to, just to be like, I'm gonna really waste this person's time. This one, like, I don't want to say it almost had me, but it was like, is this a scam? Like it was really weird. And it was a voicemail from a woman, like clearly an American, woman, not like the telltale signs of someone who's at like what do you call it? Like an outgoing, call farm or something like that. So, someone could have been from my state or whatever. I don't know. And the voicemail was like, hi, Adam. Yeah, I've just been trying to get in touch with you with, oh God, what was it? It was something about like the stimulus money or like unemployment. And of course, like unemployment, I've kind of been like trying to figure this whole thing out, and it's a mess. And it's a great like subject to take advantage of people on because there's so much uncertainty around it anyway. So it was something about that. It was like, yeah, we're just trying to get to the bottom of the unemployment thing. And so I'm going to give you this number. This is like a reference code. It's code like 56321, whatever. So give me a call back and make sure that you reference that code. But then that was it. There was no information about me personally. There was no like, it was very vague. And so I Googled it, and I Googled like exactly like a 7-word phrase, that she had said. And like immediately there was like, 100 other people that have like her exact name. I got a voicemail from this person. She said this, and it was like debunked, fairly quickly. But that was the most advanced one where I was like, oh my God, I'm like semi buying this right now.
Yeah, I mean, there've been some elaborate scams. Somebody said that I'm going to receive $10,000 and I this and that, but then I just played along with it. Okay, yeah, here's this, send it, boo, 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 and then he's all, but you have to use the money to buy some sort of health care. I said, oh my God, are you serious? All the stuff we just went through, and you're trying to sell me health care? They're just, it's just unbelievable.
It's
Maybe
like
they were to send me money. I don't know.
It's like the Craigslist version of a timeshare. It's like, we're going to make you go through 50 emails back and forth. And then we're going to say, well, then you can go on your vacation or whatever. So do you have any like trips or anything coming up anytime soon?
Well, I want to go back maybe up north again, but I'm just going to work. I want to buy a 4-wheel drive Mercedes Sprinter and fix it up.
Yeah. Put a bed in that thing.
I want to like just fix it up. One of those like adventure vans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it.
Now's a good time to buy one because there's, 4-wheel drive Sprinters sitting on lots all over the place.
Really?
Usually you can't find them. Yeah.
Yeah. That always seems to be the one that people like trick out though. Is the Sprinter.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one now, but it's not 4x4. I couldn't get a 4x4 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I needed a van, and it's a good van. It's a really good van. But I really wanted a 4x4, but I didn't. I was like in a rush, and I needed a van. And the salesman, I said, well, there's one over in Pleasanton. Why don't you bring it over here? And, he just wouldn't do it because they wanted to sell me one off the lot that they had. But, now I went in there and I said, my service guy said, I'm going to buy another van, 4x4. Pleasanton's got one. Maybe you guys can bring it over. And they have a whole bunch of them over there.
Well, that would be cool, man. I would love to. I think that's like everyone's dream, right? Is to like have the tricked out.
Yeah,
van.
If you can afford $700 a month van payment, then it's worth it.
Right. Yeah. Well, a lot like to your point, a lot of those guys that do like workshops and stuff, I feel like they're always the guys that have.
Not all of them. They have pickup trucks and there's another guy I saw. He has a really I don't know why he would pick the van that he has, but you know, a really smart person would get the Sprinter because it'll last 1,000,000 miles.
Right.
You only got, and they get 21 miles to the gallon too.
You know, as soon as you have the Sprinter van and you're traveling around, you have to become a vlogger. That's like the law of having a Sprinter van is you have to start making a YouTube channel, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how to do that though. Then you have to know how to work with videos and stuff.
Yeah. It's just a whole nother thing. That's for sure. Does Chris do that? Does he have a YouTube? I can't remember. He does a lot of stuff like that too, I thought.
Yeah. He's trying. He talked to the camera more than I will. I don't know how to he probably has the thing like you do and he'll sit there and talk and make a video. But I don't.
Yeah. But he doesn't have the trademark. Oh boy. I mean, that's invaluable intellectual property.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I said that and I don't know. Someone else has already have a trademark before me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that come from anyway? How long have you been doing that?
I was just saying, oh boy, I don't know why I was saying it. I just did.
Yeah, but like it's just funny how everyone on Instagram like knows, oh, Bruce Getty, he's like the oh boy guy.
Yeah.
Like that, like what became.
When I'm like with a big sunset or something epic is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, man. Yeah. That was like I remember when I first started getting like on Instagram and I was like, okay, who are some photographers that like I should be following? And, you know, I came across you like pretty quickly as far as like kind of the landscape, cityscape guys that do a lot of work and whatnot. And I remember there were like the first two things where I was like trying to figure out about Bruce Getty was number one, I was like, does Getty have something to do with, like I've brought it up a couple times now, the Getty Images thing? I was like, is that somehow related? And
I don't even know if they know I exist.
Yeah, maybe not.
My last name, though.
Right.
Why not use it, right?
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I wonder if that's a thing. And then I saw like a couple of stories in a row where you were yelling, oh boy. And I was like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So do you think you're going to come to New York in September again?
Do you live in New York?
I actually live outside of Philly. So New York's only, you know, like less than 2 hours away.
I'm going to come there. Yeah.
I missed the trip. Actually, I was going to go up there in April. Of course, we all know what happened. And I was supposed to do a whole bunch of photography with a couple time-lapse friends of mine. We're going to shoot a bunch of stuff.
I'm going to not miss. Last year, I kind of I only went to see fall in Oregon, but I want to really see fall this year. And I'll have, I'll be able to afford it. So.
You think you'll go up to like Vermont?
I don't know, Vermont. Like, yeah, I want to go everywhere. I want to see as much as I can.
Do you go up to Maine at all? You ever make it out there? Yeah. That's definitely one of my favorite spots that I'm slowly getting more and more comfortable with. Cause I've now been there like my wife's family has been going up there since she was a kid, like every summer. And so now a bunch of people in her family have like homes there and stuff. So it's becoming easier for us to just like take trips out there like more frequently. And it's definitely become one of my favorite spots to shoot. It can be difficult as well because you get a lot of the, haze on the water and things like that. But yeah, I love shooting up there. I would love to do some fall stuff up there sometime too.
Yeah. So I'm going to I always come to New York September. I'll figure it out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you can make it out and I hope you can keep the trips and the Sprinter van and everything going, man. Like I would love to see.
I'm going to get a 4-wheel drive Sprinter van. Believe me, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that thing.
Yeah. Do you have a first trip in mind that you would go on with it?
Well, first you got to get the van and then you got to fix it up because they don't sell that, unless you buy one that's already built, but those are like $120,000 for one that's already fixed up.
Wow. Yeah.
So I want to get one that just has the camera in the back, reverse camera, no windows, and loaded dash and the swivel seats.
Okay.
And the first thing you got to do is you got to change the rims and tires and put different shocks on them and insulate the walls and then figure out a plan for your layout. Am I going to put 2 windows and just have seats, or am I going to make it a camper? So I don't think I'm going to make it a camper. I think that I will have it kind of set up the way I have it now. Walls done really nice with insulation and paneling. And because if I want to sleep, I just throw some mattresses in there.
Right.
You could always find a place to, take a shower or whatever.
Still, the camper is pretty cool. I hear what you're saying,
cool, but
the camper's so cool.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of space. You lose a lot of space.
Right.
Yeah.
What about like a single burner stove or something? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Put something like that.
My roommate wants to get one too, and he's going to do his up really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where would you have like a spot that you would go to for your first trip once it was completed?
Maybe I would go to I haven't been to those places with all those rocks and Moab, in the desert and stuff.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the Superstition Mountains this year, but I couldn't go because of COVID. Right. See the cactus blooms and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I have a friend that lives in Arizona. I was going to visit him, and we were going to go around, but the whole thing happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I really need to get to the Southwest too to shoot. I want to do some night sky stuff, in the Southwest, especially Arizona and Utah. Do you do much like Milky Way and night sky stuff? I feel like I don't see you do a ton of that.
Not too much. I have done some when I've gone out, and I have some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But just not like your favorite thing to shoot, I guess.
No, I don't have. I need to get a better lens. Better lens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the night sky stuff is it's such a budget buster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything's a budget buster.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true, man. Well, Bruce, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you chatting with me. We've been talking for like an hour and a half.
Really that long, huh?
Yeah. I tend to suck time out of people.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, if I go to Marin County, if I get pulled over by the police, they're going to search me. Guaranteed.
Right.
Only in Marin County, nowhere else.
No New York history.
No New York history.
To worry about?
We moved from New York in 1979. And 1978, I got in trouble first time, but it was like kid stuff. We lit off smoke bombs on some old lady's front porch, and the cops chased us in the whole neighborhood.
Right. Classic little boy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't start getting arrested until we came to California, and I lived in Marin. So I started smoking pot. Then I started doing hard drugs.
Yeah.
And then I was a criminal. 14 years old, I was a criminal.
Other than that, did you enjoy growing up in California? Was like that a cool place to grow up?
I don't know. It's just all fog. Because, all the things that I should have done, I didn't do.
Right.
Like study and get good grades in school.
Right.
I became a criminal and a drug addict. And I went to juvenile hall. First time I did a year in juvenile hall. Then I got out and got in trouble again. And then my parents made me a ward of the court. And I went to a group home in Santa Cruz. And I got emancipated. I took the GED. And then I lived down there for a while until I wore up my welcome, came back to Marin. And I just never could get sober. I just was I was a construction worker and carpenter. I was good at it. But that trade, goes hand in hand with drug and alcohol use.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, that's how it used to be. Yeah. They do coke, crank, everything.
Right.
They did it all. Yeah.
Right.
And work all at the same time.
There was before I let you go, there was this one post that you had that was really funny. I remember one of your Instagram stories from like a year ago or something. Yeah. And you were pointing your phone at this like chandelier, I think it was this like chandelier that you made
those. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, and dude, it was really cool. It was like a really cool piece of art. And you were like,
this is one of my original pieces right here that I made.
Okay.
It's a base, an antique base, and I fabricated all this metal and attached these shells. So after everything I've been through, this thing has been following me around. I've lost everything except for this and a few other things. Tools, for equipment, but I never lost that because everybody knew how badass that thing is, and it always found its way back. But the chandeliers, yes, the lighting thing was a thing. Well, year 2000, I created Getty's vintage lighting, and I made these crazy pieces that people used to buy all over the Bay Area and all over the world.
Yeah, they're really wild looking. And the one that I'm mentioning, you said you were like, I made this when I was like all fucked up on acid or like something like that.
It's all messed up on meth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I remember thinking like, I guess one of those funny things of like, is as problematic obviously as drugs can be, like, can they also drive creativity and stuff too? And it's like this weird, this weird slippery slope, I guess sometimes.
I became a drug addict and an artist. And now I still consider myself to be an artist because I do like a lot of artistic construction projects. And, I work for people that don't want to have a fancy contractor, that want to say, okay, well, we have an artist working on our house. And,
that's a good point.
Yeah. So, and then I do like jobs. Sometimes I'll do like jobs nobody else wants to do. If you look at my story, the job that I've been doing in the city, I'm making a cyclo, it's a commercial photographer studio, and I'm making one of those walls that goes like this, but I'm heavy duty.
Oh, I like the little sort of ramp.
Like glamour, yeah, like a ramp and then an inside corner.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, that's cool, man. And do you don't still make any of those lamps though? You don't.
I have a whole pile of rocks over at my storage place over here. I want to make one more before I too old. I have all the tools. I have the chainsaw still because I use a chainsaw that has a water and diamond blade, and I get in and I chunk the inside out. It makes a big mess.
Like a tile saw, right?
No, it's a chainsaw. Looks like a chainsaw for cutting trees, and I could like stick it down in there and carve the inside of these things out and use chisels and grinders. And I have a couple rocks that I really am fond of. I'm going to make one of these days. I just have to find a place to do it. And I need like a 20 horsepower compressor to run my tools.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty badass, man. I hope you can find time to keep doing that. Cause those things are really unique.
I'm going to have to take the rock and go to someone else's facility and do it. And when all this blows over, there's a place in Oakland where you can go and rent and use their air and use their water and, make your thing.
Yeah.
Pay by the month.
Yeah.
It's an outdoor. It's best to do it outdoors.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine it probably makes a huge,
during the time when I was making those things, I really messed my hearing up because now all I hear is like, it sounds like someone took a knife and stabbed it into a tire and the air leaks out. Have you ever heard that sound? That's the sound.
I don't think so.
Well,
I know that generally I know.
If you let the air out, if you let the air out of your tire, that's what it sounds like.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
24/7, and that's from the machinery, the chainsaw and the dust collector, and doing all that stuff indoors.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson, kids. Wear earplugs.
Wear ear protection whenever you can.
Yeah. Should we leave on that note? Wear ear protection.
Yeah. Put the ear protection on when you're
right.
Yeah.
Well, man, if you're ever the next time you see yourself on the East Coast, just hit me up or something because it would be really fun to get together, man. I'd love to come shoot with you on something.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Sounds good.
So So yeah, man, thanks again. I really do appreciate you coming on and giving me some time. You're a legend in the photography space. So, you know,
Yeah, I'm
thank
going
you.
to keep taking pictures, but I'm just, I don't know what's going to happen with the, I mean, as far as workshops and stuff like that, who knows what's going on? I mean, I know I can go from state to state, but to get permits and do all that stuff now is a hard time.
By the way, did you ever think about, I don't know, maybe talking to like the photo pills guys? Cause they do those like photo pills camps and they'll have instructors come.
But they know who I am, but they didn't invite me. So they invited everybody, whoever else they.
Well, I don't know them really well, but maybe
those guys have their own thing going and they have their own people that they use for their things.
Right.
I don't think they charge that much money. It's not about the money for them. They sell that.
No, it's not actually. I had Raphael, who's like the main guy, I guess, or the co-founder anyway. He was on the podcast a few times ago. Really super, super nice guy. And it was funny to your point. It was almost funny how like adverse he was to like charging more money. We were talking about like, oh, maybe should photo bills be like an annual $10? And I pretty much told him, I was like, dude, honestly, like people might hate me for saying this, but like it probably should be $10 every year. The amount of stuff.
I don't use those things though.
It's pretty useful. It takes a bit to like, there's like a learning curve. I remember the first time I opened it, it was kind of like the first time I opened Photoshop, where I was just like, oh fuck, like what do I do?
Yeah.
But now that I've, watched some tutorials and whatnot and use it, like there are certain times, especially for like setting up like a moon shot or a Milky Way shot or something, where you can, if you want it really precise, it can be really helpful for that. But
I will go shooting with somebody that knows how to use it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Surround yourself with the people.
Somebody that knows how to do it. I mean, I don't know how to. It's like I get overwhelmed if I look at that thing.
Right.
Those apps. It's just.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But yeah, man. The next time you're in New York or in the nearby area, like I'm really looking to get out when I can this year and do as much shooting as I can. So I would. I'd love to come out or something if you're up for it.
Yeah. No problem.
Cool. All right. Well, take it easy, man. Thanks again.
Nice to meet you.
You too, Bruce. Take care.
See you later.